I think I can, because I have been practice medical physics in United States approximately more than 25 years, right? So it's not very easy to see general Europeans. I will see, maybe just we have to very focus at different countries. But let's talk about U.S. first. The focus or the vision of the hospital and the institute are very different. Because there's a difference, they affect medical physics practice as well. For example, most academic institutes is very, very clear in their vision, in their attribute. They have almost 40-60% separation, like a 60% clinical practice, 40% research and education, or 50-50. Okay, private practice, on the other hand, going to be more focused on the clinical practice. Okay, so they may have a continuing education, but research and education is not their major focus, include contract. Because whenever people looking for a job in US, but definitely not everyone, but I have to see the people really think about what's their career development. Sometimes they look the hospital attribute. Basically, hospital has a policy, write down what's their focus. Like a Beaumont Hospital, the first two actually is very clear. Patient quality, okay, patient safety quality, that's a first attribute, first focus. Second is technology and the innovation. That means that when you accept a job, you can easily, based on these two major focus, ask what is your investment to this position. This is not at the beginning. It's like 25 years ago. It's not very, very less difference. Okay, compared with academic and the private practice. Medical physics does not have a very strong society to champion, to actually promote themselves, to tell themselves what they are doing, what they should be, the difference between different institutes. But I think during the last 10 years, because of the growth of this society, right? The recommendation at the early time is from AAPM. That's a purely medical physics society. However, medical physics did a good job. They actually promote themselves in Astro. Astro is truly dominated by physicians. However, in the whole U.S., Astro may have more power, political power, we understand, right? Than the medical physics. But medical physics did a good job. However, it's also be accepted by the whole large clinician group due to the technology innovation during the last 20 years. For example, we use a certain percentage from a clinical technical charge directly support called the technology implementation. It's not purely research. It's not a hypothesis-driven research. It's almost like a new advanced technology. Potential can improve clinical outcome. Then you need to encourage people. You need to give physics time and the resources to implement in the clinic. This percentage effort have to be paid clearly with the hospital revenue. I think this all depends on two aspects. Number one is really the clinical need. That's a disease side. What type of technology probably most fit what type of treatment? That's number one. The other one is really the time issue. For example, whenever a new technology starts, definitely they cannot be popular immediately, right? We know we have been there. For any new technology, the development, interval can last 5, even 10 years. Then they get to be a product so mature, which are easy to be operated, doesn't really need a lot of actual labors. In that time, they start to merge, migrate into the small or private practice. This actually pretty much in United States is pretty much acceptable for most of the clinic already. For example, small clinic will never jump on the high technology immediately. From my experience, this really depends on the practice. Most of large institute, academic institute, you must be reasonable. That means that you must follow the technology properly. Otherwise, it's very hard for you to lead or to demonstrate your quality of your treatment. This in the U.S. For private practice, sometimes it all depends the situation. Economics very much depends on economic situation. Okay. If somebody tell me in next 5 years this treatment modality going to have a big breakthrough, it's very hard to convince me. I don't believe it. However, this technology always have certain improvement. That's my experience during last 20, even 30 years. Always exists certain improvement. From a physics point of view, we are very clear what we want, right? Our practice, our research, our technology development, very focused on, for me, is 2 important focus. Number 1, how to increase the delivery accuracy, how to improve the efficiency. How much improvement? Look at all the big shot during the last 20, 30 years, all this new technology. Each time, we cannot see this is a revolution, like you cure the cancer 100%. No, all our technology has a certain percentage improvement. Also, this improvement are very focused on what disease you're talking about, right? We know the best of a proton can do is reduce the treatment volume, reduce the total integral dose. Personally, I really don't think every treatment should go to proton. For certain treatment site, the current photon and the X-ray has been show very good, outcome. We cannot simply justify, reduce the integral dose, have a significant improvement. Okay, so for example, we don't want to plan. It's not in our performa treat proton, treat prostate cancer, use a proton, because we don't feel that's going to have significant improvement. So that's we are not 100% sure for long, but we may test. Okay, but for certain case, particular for the children, right, reduce the integral dose, there is a clear, the advantage. In that time, yes, we are like to treat the proton. But do we really need some proton to see what could be the potential improvement for certain, disease? Answer is yes. Okay, even there is no clear clinical evidence yet, but there is a very clear evidence from a physics point of view. Because it's just a dose. For heavy particle, that's probably for heavy ion, that thing, that's probably even philosophy that could be on the same, similar as a proton. We know there is also not only the dose advantage, there is RBE advantage as well. There's a clear biological advantage. But again, I don't think that's going to really replace the photon for everything. Okay. Also, at this moment, I don't think people has enough money to really support these things either, right? Just cost too much compared with our current healthcare level.